back with another video today. I'm Tasty Fudge, if you don't know, better known as Mr. Fudge nowadays. Today I'm going to talk about anxiety because it seems to be a massive issue at the moment, especially after the COVID. People worried about catching COVID, people worried about other people not wearing masks, so forth, so on, loved ones, catching COVID and falling really ill. Obviously your general day-to-day life anxiety as well, bills, going off a website called www.mind.org.uk. You can go and check it out yourself. Basically gives the facts and some statistics as well around mental health, but I'm going to tell you something today. Mental health, as in anxiety, it's actually like quoted to be a fear associated with threat, something going wrong or something happening drastic in your life, a major change maybe, or to some people it's not even the biggest of things, but it's kind of like a build up of little things, and that's half the problem, because the little things not being dealt with leads to the bigger things happening. Some statistics here: 1 in 6 people, that's it, 1 in 6, such a high number. 1 in 6 people report a common mental health issue such as anxiety and depression. I mean, that's a lot. And it's probably a bit more because that report's based on that website, like I said, and the website itself, I think it goes back to like 2014 or 15, so it's probably a lot higher now because of COVID. 8 in 100 people have mixed anxiety and depression. Yeah, it's a very high number really. When 1 in 8 adults are getting treatment. 1 in 8. So if there's 8 people out there that have anxiety and depression, only one of those 8 people are actually getting treatment. The others are just sitting back, and it's hard, man. Like my other video, there's just not enough people talking about issues. You can obviously visit like mentalhealth.org.uk. It's another one. It's factual statistics: 2.8 million people in the UK, or 1 in 4 people will experience mental health in a year. I mean, that's crazy numbers, you know what I mean? Yeah, I don't know about anybody else, but I've suffered with anxiety. I think probably, quite a lot of people I know have had some form of anxiety. And I remember being younger, I was in my own home, and I thought I was having a heart attack. I mean, I laugh about it now, you know what I mean? But I actually thought I was having a heart attack. Like, I couldn't breathe. I felt like my chest was closing in. Um, I panicked. Something rotten. I actually ended up ringing an ambulance because, like I said, I thought I was having a heart attack, and obviously I was just having a panic attack. And once the paramedics came, and I think I telephoned my mum because my mum lived around the corner at the time, and she came round to see what was what. And um, yeah, obviously once breathing into a paper bag and calm myself down a little bit, I sorted myself out. But I mean, back then I was very carefree. I remember going to my dad's. He was on a GTN spray, which is for like people who had heart attacks to open up the airways. I had about 30 sprays of that. How I never killed myself then, I do not know. But I just remember the paramedics coming in, and like at that time I smoked. I smoked cigarettes, and there was an ashtray in the middle of my coffee table, and they must have had about 100 cigarettes in the ashtray. So I'm not really surprised that, like, things were a bit downhill in South. I mean, I was depressed a little bit as well. Uh, I was working in a job that I wasn't happy in, and I think even with that job, I just kind of walked out one night and never went back. Um, yeah, it was bad times. And then after that, anytime I spoke about panic attacks or feeling anxious, I would have a panic attack. It was like reliving back a memory. It was so strange. I couldn't think about it. I couldn't talk about it. If I seen anything about it, I felt panicky. I mean, it went on for months and months and months. I started some medication, and it actually made me depressed. So I stopped the medication myself, and I'm kind of glad that. And I don't advise anyone to stop any medication. You know, if your GP's kind of put you on medication, follow what the GP says. If you feel like you don't need it, go and speak to a GP and have them stop it. Don't do what I did. I mean, I knew I didn't need it, so I went off my own back. But I wouldn't advise anyone to go against what a GP is recommending. Um, but yeah, I found ways to cope, and that's kind of what I'm here to talk about. Really, like this sounds really stupid, yeah. But when I feel like I still get them today, like to this day, I still get panic attacks. But my way of dealing with it, and it does work. I don't know why it works. It does work. Is I'll go and get a dressing gown on, a t-shirt on. I'll make sure I'm well wrapped up, and then I'll wrap myself in the quilt so that I become really, really hot. And it must be like a comfort thing, like you feel like you're being held or hugged. I don't know, but that works for me. That stops the panic attacks. Um, like I said, I haven't had one for a long, long time now. But you know, talking from experience of my own, it's not nice. It really isn't. And I think if I'd have talked a little bit more about how I was feeling, I mean, it's only recently I've told my loved ones like how I felt about it, and I think they were all a bit surprised because I'm kind of like a really confident guy, but obviously on the inside, outside confidence is just a mask. Really, you hide what you really feel and what you really think, and and that's because you partly because you want to protect others, but partly because you want to protect yourself as well. You don't want people judging you, and it's kind of like try and find a way to like make everyone believe that everything's all right. Everything's okay and nothing's going bad. But yeah, it's the main source of anxiety really comes from I don't even know what caused that panic attack because I wasn't really worried about anything. I mean, maybe I was subconsciously, I don't know, but you know, um, but yeah, I mean, everyone else has the rights and the reasons about how they feel, and but it's important that you talk to somebody if if you kind of feel there's something wrong or someone's saying to you there's changes and you don't see it, but obviously other people are seeing it. Just have a sit back, have a write down, have it. I generally like to write everything that I want to achieve. You know what I mean, or want how I feel. Sometimes it's a funny subject really because each anxiety is different with each person because of differences with issues or differences with thoughts and feelings. I mean, I'm quite a believer with mental health follows mental health. Like when you get one issue with one thing, if not treated, it leads to other issues with other things. You kind of like one day I feel depressed, the next day I feel anxiety. That I don't mean generally the next day, but like one after the other. I kind of think they're linked all together. Now, there's probably no evidence of proving that, but that's just my opinion. I believe that when you leave on one thing, it leads to another thing, and it leads to another thing, and before you know it, you're so deep in the issues that really could have been sorted from day one. I'm no stranger from running from problems. In my past, that's basically what I did. I just kind of buried my head and hope for the best, and sometimes it worked out, and sometimes it didn't. How you deal with yours is how you deal with yours, but don't follow my routes. It doesn't work. It really doesn't. You're best off dealing with things in head on, sort it out straight away. Because the second you don't, is the second you start slipping into that routine of, oh, well, we'll just bury our head and it'll go away eventually. It doesn't, believe me. You feel like it has, and then it creeps back. I don't quite know um, whether my videos would help you, whether my videos have any kind of connection to anybody. I hope they do, but you know, this is the whole point of why I'm doing it, because there's people that are close to me that aren't coming out to the world and letting them know what's really going on. Obviously, to some of us, they're telling the ins and outs, but I've lost a few people over the years because they didn't talk. They buried their heads in the sand, and before they know it, that little tiny issue would become like a huge issue. It become something that really should never have gotten to that point. It's hard when you kind of feeling alone and nobody understands, or you kind of feel that you don't want to be a burden to somebody, so you're not going to tell them what's really going on because you don't want them worried about you, or like you say, you don't want people judging you. Peer pressures as well, you know what I mean? Like, people are just the high expectations of what people should look like or what people should do. The world's a strange place, you know. It's not like it was years ago where it was just free living and you could be what you want. I wish I could go back to like the 80s. 80s was just awesome. I mean, I was born in the 80s, so I didn't experience much of it, but looking back on videos, it was proper carefree. And my mum always tells me about like how people would have crazy hair and dress however they want, and it was an era where people really just become who they wanted to become without any kind of um, pressure from anybody else making a judgment. But hey yo, things change. But yeah, I hope you get something out of the video, and I hope if you're feeling anxiety of any kind, you're able to talk to someone. I mean, you know, I'm always here, but you know, all it takes is a message away. If you know, or a comment on the thing, I will comment back to anybody that's puts anything, whether it's positive or negative. I don't know. Take care, folks.